Today we're going to talk about the 6 key concepts, sometimes known as CUEGIS. 6 key concepts are quite simple to understand. They are change, culture, ethics, globalization, innovation and strategy. So businesses need to change what they do. They're in a competitive marketplace. If they don't change what they do, the likelihood is that customers are going to go elsewhere. So for example, demographics, that just means if you have an aging population, like there is in countries like Japan or South Korea, companies need to make more products to suit older people. The culture, that could relate to either the traditions inside a country or the traditions inside an organization. So for example, in a country, some countries are, if you look at the corruption index, some countries are relatively corrupt. That means businesses have to pay a lot of money to public officials, government officials to get things done. In other countries, that's not the norm. So for example, in other countries, corruption doesn't really exist. We have then the ethics or values of an organization. That could mean some companies may have a stated policy that the various minority groups are represented in middle and upper management. Okay, that might be sort of like quite politically correct. All right, and that determines maybe the behaviour of a lot of the things which goes on in the organisation. Other businesses may, for example, encourage lots and lots of recycling. All right, globalization, that might be a process whereby there's a lot more trade going on than there used to be. 50 years ago, most businesses probably were traded inside their own country, inside their own city. Because of improved communication links, transportation links, because of free trade, so it's easier for, say, South Korean companies to trade everywhere in the world. So that's a huge opportunity for them. But equally, it can become a threat because of other companies in China, companies in Japan, companies in Malaysia can also sell stuff in South Korea. So it is both an opportunity and threat. Then we have innovation. That's, for example, taking like the iPhone and it becomes iPhone 2, 4, 6, 8. So you're improving existing products. Or trying to develop new products. We might have the iCar coming in 2022. Then we have strategy. Strategy just means a company has an objective. How are you going to reach that objective? What are the steps you put into place to reach that objective? Now, we see CUEGIS on paper 2, section C. Alright, you have 3 questions to choose from, you choose one. The reason why I've written "oh my god" there is because initially, when you look at this type of question, you'll be going, "oh my god." I know I was a little bit like this when the syllabus was first issued, but then after a while I got thinking, this isn't so hard, I could answer this. Alright, which is a good thing as I'm a teacher, but nevertheless it is a little bit scary. Now the way in which the questions are structured is like this. Each of the 6 key concepts appears in the questions, in the combinations too. So this is change, globalization, innovation, strategy, ethics and culture. And as you study 5 different units or topics, 3 of those topics will be evident through the 3 questions. So this is human resources, this is marketing, this is your very, very first unit. Alright? So hopefully by the time you finish doing your course, you should be able to answer these questions. Okay? Even entering the course, a question like examine the impact of innovation on promotional strategies for an organisation of your choice. You should be able to think of how do companies use technology, like social media, okay, to be able to try and sell products to people. You could probably give a reasonably good attempt at this type of question on your first day. Now, you must write about a real organisation. You can't make up a fictional organisation. You must write about what a real organisation does. So I prepare revision guides for my students for Starbucks, Tesla and McDonald's because they provide a wealth of information online, and the companies have various, sometimes problems or issues which they're trying to overcome, and they very clearly set out their strategies, what they're trying to do. And they also, McDonald's and Tesla, they produce items, alright? McDonald's, there's obviously culture, there's ethical issues about what McDonald's does, there's ethical issues about what Tesla does. McDonald's arguably slightly on the negative side, Tesla arguably on the very, very positive side. So there's a wealth of information available on those businesses. I equally try and get students not just to rely on my notes, but to try and find out information themselves. So at the start of the 2-year course, each student chooses a business. It could be like Samsung, or it could be Google, and then throughout the course they follow that company and they try and investigate human resources, marketing, operations management, and then the 6 key concepts. So when we come to the final exams, hopefully students are more likely to remember the information they found. So during the course, students regularly do presentations to the rest of the class, and that way we keep the students motivated. So try and keep your own portfolio of information on a company maybe you're interested in. All right, and that perhaps is the difficulty students face. Is a lot of students don't read, and hence why a lot of students tend to maybe rely on the notes I have given them. Okay, but maybe you're more likely to remember things if you've gone away and found it yourself. So maybe go to Google News, Google News Alert, and every time something is announced by the company you've been given, like Facebook or Samsung, that information will come to you, and hopefully then you will build a bigger picture about the business. You can use the business you studied for your IA or your EE. Alright, there's 5 criteria. If you use these criteria reasonably well, there's no reason why you can't get 15 out of 20. Okay, so the first criteria is knowledge. So this is define the key terms in the question. So if it mentions change and innovation, you show clear knowledge of change and innovation. Use appropriate business management terminology. If the question is about promotion, you use probably a lot of the terminology from the marketing unit. Alright? If you're going to use tools, because you're under a time limit, it's probably better to try and use tools like the hands-off matrix, Boston matrix, and product positioning map, because they can be done relatively quickly, rather than maybe doing the fishbone or pest or SWOT or Lewis source of change. They may take a little bit longer to do. So they're probably a little bit more difficult to use skillfully just because of the time constraint. So maybe just use the Boston matrix or hands-off matrix. The application, this is you giving real examples from the business which relate to the question. Alright? Hopefully, that what you're writing about has a nice little mixed sense. Alright? Your teacher should talk you through examples of CUEGIS essays they've done, or CUEGIS essays which can now be bought, and you can see what the nice balanced logical structure is. This and what the logical argument is. So that leads to the D criteria. You should get hopefully 4 for this, because like all good stories, that you've probably been told in English, you should have an introduction, you should have an end, which is called the conclusion, and in between you've got your main body. Okay, there's no reason why you can't get 4 there. And the part students struggle with most is the stakeholders. You have to write about an individual and a group. So the individual stakeholder, the easiest to write about, if I was writing about Tesla, is Elon Musk. So, Elon Musk is obviously a very, very skilled man at being able to convince people to believe in his dream. He had to convince investors to give him money. And he still, I mean, we're in August 2017, and only a couple of days ago, investors gave him another $1.8 billion to help increase production. Alright, so that is a good thing. Now, on the bad side will be Tesla has sometimes missed sales targets. If that continues, and if Tesla's doesn't meet sales targets, its share price is likely to start falling. If other car companies quickly develop electric cars, which are just as good as Tesla, or maybe even better, the share price of Tesla may well start to go down very, very quickly. The people who lent money to Tesla may well start getting worried about it, and therefore pressure will be exerted on Elon Musk. Okay, and in that case, worst case scenario, he may well lose his job. Okay, so you have the positives there and the negative. It's easiest to write about customers and workers, how they will be affected by whatever you're writing about. Okay, but again, you have to try and look at it in a positive and a negative fashion. Then, higher level people, your exam is 2 hours 15 minutes. Standard level people, your exam is 1 hour 45 minutes. You're probably only going to have about between 40 and 48 minutes to write this answer. I have written answers as well. When I give my students questions, I sit down and type up previously answers. This is an example of a question I've done in the past for Tesla. This is probably only 600 words long. Okay? Hopefully in class the teacher gives you plenty of time to practice. Sometimes students do take too long on section A and section B. So what I again try and get students to do, I will just give students 25 minutes to write an answer which has some definitions, has some appropriate terminology, does have an introduction, does have a conclusion, some stuff in the middle where they're writing, giving examples about the business. And doing that type of thing, students are still able to get 12 out of 20. So what we don't want in the final exams is to be feverish, going, oh my god, there's 20 minutes to go, I'm never going to be able to finish this. You can still write like a very much a summarised, condensed answer, which can still meet enough criteria to maybe get 12 out of 20. So 12 out of 20 would be like level 5, level 6. Okay? Then, this is very much a summary as to how to do this. Alright, so what you would do is briefly write about the two key concepts in the question, use appropriate business terminology, have a correct layout, an introduction, a main body and conclusion. Right? Occasionally my students have started off with like the fishbone, or started off the Lewis force field to change, and that's just wrong. You know, if you're going to put that in, it should be in the main body. Alright, you'll have your conclusion and recommendation if the recommendation seems appropriate. You mention your two stakeholders. You probably say what the business does well. It doesn't do so well throughout your answer. Use the case study information, give about the business. And if you do that, then you should be able to get, as I said, 14, 15, 16 out of 20. Now, this is a lot easier than you initially think. Strategy. If a business comes up with a strategy to do something and then they introduce it, obviously that's an example of change. Everything pretty much a business does is an example of innovation. So there you have innovation, change, and strategy. All right, and we're going to show that through this very, very simple example. Okay, if McDonald's introduces self-service kiosks that cost $150,000 per kiosk, but only 30% of customers dine in, this is obviously a strategy. Okay, but it also clearly links to innovation and change. Okay, and it also can be linked to every single unit on your course. Okay, so obviously this is a growth strategy. All right, but franchisees may be unhappy, and the reason why they'd be unhappy is because they have to pay for the kiosk. It has an impact on human resources because if people are able to personalise the orders, then maybe it takes longer to put the orders together. The cost of the kiosk, well, obviously that's going to cost a lot of money. It will reduce the profits of the franchisee. And it may well, if you're thinking about investment, based on how many years, for example, would it take to pay back. Alright? Then we would have, from marketing, it's obviously a possible extension strategy, trying to increase sales. And in Unit 5, that would be like a move towards job production. Okay? So hopefully you don't find the CUEGIS questions too difficult. As long as you have lots of examples about the business, link in business management theory, make sure that the answer is relevant to the key concepts. You have an introduction, you have a conclusion, you have stuff in the middle. There's no reason why you shouldn't really be able to get 3 out of 4 in each of the criteria and get, say, 15 out of 20. I think that would be about level 6, maybe level 7. So make sure, in conclusion, that you read about businesses and are able to go into the exam and write about them. There's no reason why you shouldn't be very successful.